Most men operate under the false belief that relentless attention wins a woman's affection. They text constantly, shower her with validation, rearrange their schedules just to be available, to find themselves taken for granted. The truth is, attraction doesn't grow in the suffocating presence of neediness. It thrives in the space of mystery and self-assured absence. Women, especially those accustomed to male attention, are subconsciously drawn to the one man who doesn't. Follow the predictable script. When you refuse to join the chorus of admirers clamoring for her time, you disrupt her expectations in a way that lingers in her mind far longer than another good morning text ever could. The power of ignoring her isn't about manipulation, it's about scarcity. Human psychology dictates that people value what isn't easily obtained. She's used to men chasing her. Your sudden silence forces her to confront an uncomfortable question. Asterisk, why isn't he pursuing me like everyone else? That question plants a seed of doubt, curiosity, and ultimately, attraction. Unlike the men who inflate her ego with constant praise, you become the exception, the one she can't fully predict or control. And exceptions are magnetic. But this only works if your silence comes from a place of genuine indifference, not bitterness or strategy. If you're ignoring her while secretly counting the minutes until she texts back, she sensed the neediness beneath the act. True power comes when your attention is simply elsewhere, because your life is full. Your purpose demands focus, and her validation isn't your priority. Women can tell the difference between a man who's playing games and one who genuinely doesn't need her to feel complete. The latter is the man she can't ignore. Absence also triggers something deeper, the fear of replacement. If you're not chasing her, her mind will naturally wonder if you're chasing someone else. That uncertainty creates an emotional pull stronger than any overt display of interest. She'll replay interactions, analyze your behavior, and if she's truly interested, start seeking ways to regain your attention. By doing nothing, you've shifted the dynamic. Now, she's the one investing mental energy, and that investment is what makes her attachment grow. The lesson: attraction isn't built through constant pursuit. It's built through the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth and doesn't hand out his attention to those who haven't earned it. When you master that, you don't just become more. Attractive you reset the entire game in your favor. Most men understand the concept of ignoring a woman on a surface level, but nearly all of them make the same critical mistake: they fake it. They go silent while anxiously checking their phones every 5 minutes, hoping she texts. They pretend to be busy while secretly obsessing over why she hasn't reached out. This kind of neediness bleeds through, and women can sense it immediately. The moment she detects that your silence is just a tactic to manipulate her emotions, any power you thought you had evaporates. She recognizes it as weakness disguised as indifference, and nothing kills attraction faster than that realization. The right way to ignore a woman isn't about playing games. It's about embodying a mindset where her attention isn't the prize. If you're only ignoring her because you want a reaction, you're still emotionally dependent on her validation. True power comes when you genuinely don't care whether she responds or not. This shift happens when you're fully invested in your own life, your career, your fitness, your passions, your friendships. You're not ignoring her to punish her or make her chase you. You're ignoring her because you have better things to do than waste energy on someone who isn't matching your effort. Women have an almost instinctual ability to detect authenticity. If you're truly focused on your own growth, she'll feel the difference. She noticed that you're not orbiting her world, waiting for an opportunity to prove your worth. Instead, you're moving with purpose, and that kind of self-assured energy is magnetic. She'll start to wonder why you're not like other men, why you don't seem to need her approval. That curiosity is what pulls her in, not some calculated period of silence. The key is to never use ignoring as a weapon. It should simply be the natural consequence of your standards. If she's giving low effort, you match it not out of spite, but because your time is valuable. When she sees that your attention isn't freely given, she'll either step up or fade away. Either outcome works in your favor. If she rises to the occasion, you've established a dynamic where she respects your boundaries. If she doesn't, you've filtered out someone who wasn't worth your energy in the first place. The goal isn't to make her chase you, it's to become the kind of man she can't afford to ignore. When you pull back your attention authentically, something fascinating happens. She begins questioning the dynamic between you. Women are accustomed to men chasing, so when you suddenly stop, it disrupts her entire perception of the relationship. At first, she might assume you're playing games or trying to manipulate her. But if your silence comes from genuine indifference, rather than strategy, she eventually faces an uncomfortable truth. You're not like other men who orbit her world. This realization sparks a psychological shift, where she starts reassessing your value in her life. The moment she senses your detachment isn't an act, her behavior begins changing in subtle ways. She may test you, first posting attentions, seeking social media stories, mentioning other guys in conversation, or giving you just enough attention to see if you'll bite. These are all attempts to provoke a reaction and regain control of the dynamic. If you remain unshaken, that's when the real shift occurs. Instead of you chasing her approval, she starts positioning herself to earn yours. You'll notice her initiating conversations more, finding excuses to see you, or putting extra effort into her appearance around you. These aren't coincidences, they're signs she's now the one investing emotionally. This power reversal happens because women are instinctively drawn to men who demonstrate higher value. When you refuse to chase, you subtly communicate that you're the prize, not her. She starts wondering why she doesn't have the same effect on you that she has on other men. That uncertainty creates tension, and tension fuels attraction. But the critical factor is consistency. If you break and start chasing again at the first sign of her interest, you undo all the progress. The man who maintains his frame, who stays selectively engaged but never overly available, is the one who keeps her intrigued long term. Ultimately, this isn't about manipulation. It's about allowing natural attraction to develop by removing desperation from the equation. When she realizes your attention must be earned rather than expected, she'll either rise to meet your standards or reveal she was never truly interested. Either way, you win because you've maintained your self-respect, while letting her prove whether she deserves a place in your life. The delicate art of ignoring a woman only works if you understand when to break your silence. Stay distant too long, and she'll assume you've lost interest completely. Re-engage too eagerly, and you erase all the attraction your absence created. The key lies in measured reciprocity, rewarding her increased effort just enough to keep her invested, but never so much that she feels she's won your attention back entirely. This creates a push-pull dynamic where she remains uncertain of your full interest, which is precisely what keeps her emotionally engaged. When she begins reaching out more frequently or making obvious attempts to regain your attention, that's your signal to respond, but always at a slightly slower pace than hers. If she texts you, wait a few hours before replying. If she suggests meeting up, let her take the lead in planning. This subtle imbalance communicates that while you're open to interaction, you're not desperate for it. The moment you start matching her energy too closely, the power begins shifting back in her favor. Women interpret immediate, enthusiastic responses as proof they've regained control, and attraction instantly starts fading. The most effective way to maintain this balance is through intermittent reinforcement, alternating between warmth and slight detachment. Have one conversation where you're engaged and playful, then pull back slightly for the next few interactions. This unpredictability taps into deep psychological triggers, making her subconsciously work harder for your validation. Unlike constant attention that becomes background noise, your selective engagement stays memorable and desired. Crucially, this isn't about playing mind games. It's about protecting your time and energy while allowing genuine connection to develop. At the right pace, it's the man who masters this rhythm never chases, but always remains just intriguing enough that she can't help but chase him. By making your attention something she has to earn repeatedly, rather than something she can take for granted, you ensure the dynamic remains tilted in your favor indefinitely. The true power of strategic silence isn't just about making her chase. It's about fundamentally reshaping how she perceives your value long term. When you demonstrate through actions that your attention must be earned, you're not playing a short-term attraction game. You're establishing a lasting precedent. Women don't respect men who abandon their boundaries the moment they receive female validation. They're drawn to men whose self-worth isn't negotiable, men who remain centered whether she's present or absent. This unshakable foundation is what transforms fleeting attraction into genuine respect. The irony is that the less you need her attention, the more she'll want to give it. When she senses your life remains full and purposeful regardless of her presence, you become the rare man who offers companionship rather than dependency. This shifts the entire dynamic. Instead of you competing for her affection, she starts considering whether she's worthy of yours. That subtle role reversal is where real power lies. Women test men constantly, not out of malice, but to determine if they've found someone truly secure. Every time you resist the urge to break your silence prematurely, you pass another test proving your emotional independence. Ultimately, this approach filters out the wrong women while attracting those who appreciate a man of substance. The ones who walk away were never going to meet your standards anyway. The ones who stay will do so on terms that respect your boundaries. Either outcome serves you because your peace was never contingent on her choices. When you internalize that truth, you stop fearing loss, and that fearless energy becomes your most attractive quality. The women worth keeping will recognize it instantly, responding not with games, but with the authentic effort that real connection demands.